Welcome back. Now, Thursday next week is D-Day for the Law Society of Kenya, as lawyers prepare to participate in an election exercise that will see several posts occupied, including the chairman position. Formed in 1948, LSK is tasked with maintaining and promoting the rule of law in the country by ensuring an independent and efficient legal profession serves the people. Important as it is, the election exercise has been threatened by claims surrounding bribery and tribal alliances. Today we're honored to have two candidates vying for the chairmanship position. We're supposed to have three of them, but the current chair, that is Eric Mutua, sent his apologies that he couldn't make it. But we are honored to have Charles Kanjama, close to Wanamutegi Njau. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Power Breakfast Show.
Karibu, and greetings to your viewers.
Thank you so much indeed. And of course, Ambrose Weda. Thank you so much indeed. All right, very well. So perhaps just to understand LSK and this particular position you're vying for, perhaps we could start with you, Wana Kanjama. Why the chairman's position, and perhaps what is the significance of the chairman in the LSK?
Mwakazi, I've been in the council for 2 years, and having had the experience of being a council member, I have come to realize the importance of the position of the chairman of the Law Society of Kenya. The chairman of the Law Society of Kenya heads a council of 12 members, which is ultimately the policy-making body of the society. All lawyers in Kenya who are eligible to practice are members by law of the Law Society of Kenya. So it is really the plenary body of all lawyers in Kenya. And what the chairman does is that he sets the agenda. He is supported by the council. He is the voice of the society. He is the one who ensures that council resolutions are implemented by the secretariat. So he's the link between the council and the secretariat. And he has many other structured and unstructured situations or mechanisms for influencing the direction the society takes. For example, he is a member of the National Council for Administration of Justice. He's a member of the board of the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions, Advisory Board, and so on. So he's actually a holder of an important position. He deals with lawyers on a day-to-day basis who call him, having different kinds of issues with the secretariat and so on. Definitely it is a position that lawyers want to be in safe and capable hands.
Do you believe that should be you?
Naturally. In fact, the reason I'm here is because I believe I'm the best of the three candidates. I believe, as has been my message to members, that I'm the one who will have or has had the most consistent commitment to improvement of members' welfare and practice matters. Because I think the most important role of the chairman of the Law Society of Kenya is not to speak to the public or to the government about legal issues, even though that is an important role. The most important role is to direct the legal profession and the society in such a way as to improve the welfare of members, to advance and make more sophisticated the legal profession so that members can thrive in it. And I think there are many things that have not gone as well as they could have in the last 2 years. Of course, we were in the council and we all tried to do our best. But I think this is time for a change in the top leadership of the chairman to give someone else an opportunity. And because I'm the young face in the race, I believe also that the interests of the young lawyers who currently make up about half of the law society is closest to my heart.
Whether do you have a chance?
I mean, let me tell you, I have had the privilege of serving as a member of the Continuous Legal Education Committee that continuously educate lawyers on new areas of law and new matters. I've also had the privilege of serving as a member of the Advocates Disciplinary Committee. I've also had the privilege of serving as a council member. All these experiences, I have seen as a law society we have done very well in talking on behalf of the public. And we have done this for many years. Now, all these years that we have been doing this, our own internal house started leaking, and we have various points leaking. That is why you hear the public have the temerity to say, when you open your mouth today as a lawyer, they tell you, no, vet the lawyers. It is because of the internal leaks. We have internal problems that I would wish to deal with. Number one, 90% of the lawyers now are going hungry. The lowest paid lawyer now earns 20,000. That is not counting those who do not have jobs. Because the legal briefs that we have in this economy are in the hands of 10% of the law firms. 90% of the law firms are hustling. Now, my agenda number one is to work in a bipartisan manner between the opposition and government to come up with legislation that will bring in equity in sharing state legal briefs. You'll find, like Kenya Pipeline, they instruct only one law firm, yet a brief from Kenya Pipeline or a brief like the Standard Gauge Railway, if you just witness the signatures, even your grandchildren will be well taken care of. Now, this should be shared among all law firms. Now, that requires legislation, and that will help me, will help the lawyers in Kisumu, in Bungoma, in wherever, to have hope that you will also represent Kenya Power, you will also represent railway, Kenya Railways, and so on. That has been. So it is because of that hunger, that lack of money, that lawyers are slowly getting more and more indisciplined. When you don't have money and your child has to go to school and your own signature has money in the account, what do? You borrow it. Then when you can't pay it, you face discipline. Now, as we talk, we now have lawyers who, when you talk on TV, you are dismissed, say those are thieves, because you are hungry. A lawyer like who has money in his, who has invested well and earns well, will not steal clients' money. I want to deal with that. Number two, I want to deal with issues of discipline. We have problems in terms of indiscipline. That is giving us a bad reputation. We want to deal in terms of education, in terms of counseling. We want to have, make our brothers to be our brother's keeper. Do you understand? And occasionally we want to punish others who refuse to listen. Even now I can tell you the problem, the one that Mututo is fighting about, alcoholism, is killing us. But as a society, we don't address, we only go for funerals, or we only strike out our colleagues when it is too late. Number three, we want to be strong because of devolution. We want to devolve, strengthen our branches. I propose 30% of what we collect at the Law Society to be devolved to the branches, and 10% of what we collect to be used to bring up, mentor the young lawyers. There's a disconnect. You hear people say, oh, we have half-baked lawyers. It is not the universities that give us half-baked lawyers. It is how we mishandle them. The day they leave the university, they have nowhere to do pupillage. We don't mentor them properly. We don't show them properly. We send them to the kiosks to buy milk, to buy newspapers. So the kind of law, the kind of training I got is different from the kind of training we give. I intend that we develop a manual. What are the obligations of a pupil? What are the obligations of pupil master? A manual of practice. You see lawyers being arrested. Oh, this land transaction, there's land fraud. We need, in the new constitutional dispensation, a manual that spells out the rights of a client. You have a right to look at the practicing certificate of an advocate. You have a right to be told how much fees you will be charged. You have a right, all these things. The manual is there, and the obligations, so that it is clear, it is not complaint all over. Once we seal the leaks, then we can leave it to our younger brothers like Kanjama. Now they can be making those statements. But my chairmanship will be that of constructive engagement.
Are you trying to say that simply because of his young stature?
No. This is a formidable person. He's a formidable person. It's only that house cleaning requires a fairly old hand, bold, and occasional, because there will be that also. We don't want him to catch that. For instance, we have a mega 1.2 billion building that my friend Eric Mutua wants to impose on lawyers to pay 52,000. People earning 20,000, that will only raise 320 million. Then 720 million is supposed to be borrowed. We don't know from where. Mortgage the lawyers. Then when you talk, when you criticize, the people will call in their loan. We want to clean this thing so that we move forward. And I'm talking about engagement in this sense. I see occasionally the president makes some mistakes. He appointed Muthudo, there was a mistake. He appointed Dida. My leadership will be based on believing that the president got it wrong because he is not a lawyer. Do you understand? And as a law society, we will engage. We will say, I will take a piece of paper and a pen or call and say, Your Excellency, please refer to your action on this date. Refer to section this of the Constitution. Our advice is that this is wrong. We propose you reverse like this. But for now we have been assuming that everything which is done with impunity. Yet people make mistakes. We want to engage.
Let me say that I think LSK needs, in regards to its engagement in matters legal and constitutional on behalf of the public, which is one of the two key roles of LSK, it needs a firm voice, a balanced voice, and a non-partisan voice. And I think I fit the bill in regard to that issue. I think you need someone who will avoid being confrontational when you need to avoid confrontation. You need someone who's firm when he needs to be firm and open about that issue. But to add on to what my brother has said, and to try and bring a fresh context, I think what the law society needs to do is to move from the frame of reference that it has had, the legal profession, over the last 30 years. It needs a new frame of reference, because our